What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
Savage.
As a writer, Oda is infatuated. He is in love with the idea of taking an idea that he has already done, flipping it on its head, and presenting it as something new, something different, an inversion of a previously used idea. Countless videos have been done on this topic, but I'm going to run through a few of them so you understand why I'm bringing today's topic, which is something that I haven't seen anyone else talk about, except for myself on this channel, but we've never done a full video on it, alright? One of the most popular inversions, of course, is that Dressrosa as a saga is essentially a looking glass into what if Crocodile had won. Doflamingo had already taken over Dressrosa in the same way that Crocodile wanted to take over Alabasta. His crew was even a mirror image of Baroque works, right? To the point whereas Mach Weiss and Miss Valentine's Day have the same powers. Gladius and Mr. 5, Treble and Mr. 3, Giola and Miss Golden Week, so on and so on. We meet Ace in Alabasta, we meet Sabo in Dressrosa. There are elements throughout all of the New World that parallel and invert things that we saw in Paradise and even East Blue. When Luffy and the crew enter the Grand Line, they are greeted by a singular gigantic whale. When they enter the New World, they are greeted by a school of gigantic whales. The Arlong Park arc was a story about a bunch of humans being oppressed by fishmen. Then we get Fishman Island, which is a story about fishmen being oppressed by humans, right? So we're getting the same idea, flipping it on its head, recontextualizing things that we already know. But one thing that I have never seen talked about really is what the possible inversion of the Marineford Saga was. Now, let me remind you that the Marineford Saga was entirely a story about Luffy without his crew. Meeting new people, assembling a crew of prior villains and things like that to go and save his brother, culminating in a gigantic loss and the end of the first half of the series. It's very possible that now that Oda has said that we are starting the final saga, that we may see an inversion of the Marineford Saga. Some of you watching may consider Wano itself to be the Marineford Saga inversion. Now, while there are elements of Marineford that are paralleled within the Wano arc, overall, it takes cues more so from Enies Lobby and Thriller Bark. What would be the most interesting thing to me, whether Oda does it or not, it's going to be a fun idea to explore in this video, is what if, instead of having an entire saga where Luffy is by himself without the crew, what if we got a story where Luffy was captured, and we spend the saga with the crew trying to get Luffy back. Now, already, somebody watching this is saying Luffy's not going to get captured. Luffy just became a Yonko. He is never going to get captured. He is too strong now. None of that matters, because it could be a situation where it doesn't even come down to strength. And yes, essentially I'm proposing that this happens via Green Bull's involvement in Wano currently, which could be a parallel to the end of Thriller Bark, where Kuma showed up looking for Luffy's head in the same way that Aramaki wants Luffy's head. Although Aramaki, as far as we know, is not a friend of Luffy's dad, or an honorable man that would listen to Zoro when he's, fighting for his captain's life. Aramaki just wants an attaboy from Sakazuki. And the way to do that is to bring Luffy's head. He doesn't necessarily care about Robin like the Gorosei do. He's focused in on Luffy. And Aramaki has a very broken power that makes him very hard to reach. He can just create these vine walls and push people back. He can start killing or sucking dry different people within Wano, different crew members, and then Luffy may offer himself up because he doesn't want anybody to die, or any more people to die. Who's to say what's going to happen? We're in this month break at the time of this video, so 1054 hasn't come out yet. People think because we just defeated 2 emperors that we're going to get out of here scot-free and we're just going to fodderize an admiral. But it's my belief that, if I had to really put my power scaling hat on, that Green Bull is more powerful than these emperors. Or at the very least, more dangerous than them, by virtue of just being an unknown variable in this fight, similar to how Kuma was when he showed up. No one knew what his powers were or how they worked. So this is going to be more difficult. And I don't necessarily know if there is a power amongst the Alliance that is really going to help them here. Sure, Sanji can kick the vines away with his fire, Zoro can cut them away, Brook can use ice, and he doesn't have skin, so he's not going to be affected by, getting sucked dry. Usopp could fight from long range, which is probably the best bet of anything, is to fight him long range. But ultimately, I think he's Zoro's opponent endgame, but that's, I'm getting beyond the point of this. Back on track. Luffy is the warrior of liberation. And he's been the warrior of liberation since chapter 1. Well, more so chapter 2. Liberated Kobe, went on to Shell's Town, liberated them, went on to Orange Town, liberated them, went on to Syrup Village, liberated them, went on to the Barati A, liberated them, went on to Arlong Park, liberated them. Every single arc, whether it is philosophical or a physical battle, Luffy comes into a situation and he is the liberator. He is the freer. There are so many people in this world over the 25 years of the story that owe a debt to Luffy. And what better way to return that favor and give back to Luffy than to put Luffy in a situation where he literally needs all of these people to come together endgame style and save him. Rather than having a similar story to what we got in Marineford, where Sabo is the one at the chopping block in Marineford and Luffy has to come and save his other brother, what if Luffy's other brother is also part of this team, this squad of people that is coming into Marineford to save his other brother? Flip it on its head, turn it upside down. It doesn't matter how we get there, but the epicness, the enjoyment, the enjoyability factor of a story like this, where we actually get to focus on the crew, where we get an opportunity for Zoro to have that leadership role that Sanji did at the end of Dressrosa, in Zo, where he led the crew for a little bit. Let's have Zoro have his vice captain moment, really take charge in an entire saga, and have the drama of different people within the crew maybe not necessarily vibing with Zoro being that leader, whether it's Sanji or whoever. And the other fun thing too is that we could have this mini arc, right, where the Straw Hats get held up on their way to save Luffy with a different situation. Like, they could run into someone like Weevil. There's just so many different opportunities. Like, they could get to a different island where they need to find someone to help them. There's just so many ways the story could go in an interesting way, but that's all for Oda to decide. Zoro wasn't able to gather all of the samurai, to fight Kaido. That just never happened, right?
So that was a fucking lie.
But Zoro may be able to gather the Grand Fleet, to gather different people from other islands, to gather the samurai now to go and save Luffy, because they all owe Luffy a debt for, basically saving Wano. This rally moment where the Grand Fleet could finally be utilized in a way that is worthy of the narration box at the end of Dressrosa. That they would be responsible for something so incredible. And Oda very rarely uses that style of Oda box. One of the most notable areas where that style of Oda box was used was at the end of the Ace and Blackbeard fight at Bonaro Island, which said that that fight would change the course of history as we knew it in that universe. What if Luffy gets taken to Impel Down, and instead of the crew going in there to save him, it's the Grand Fleet? And that's the moment. They are responsible for the second breakout of Impel Down. Now we get Doflamingo on our side. If Hancock is there, which I actually think that she's probably going to be taken straight to Marijoa, there are other people that we could pick up. We could finally get Bon Clay back into the story. There's a lot of opportunities here. Maybe Foxy is in Impel Down, who knows? This is the opportunity to just have Oda really flex. But similarly to that, Luffy like Ace, gets taken to Marineford, and then we still have to get there for that moment. And then eventually they do save Luffy. And then he is responsible for helping take down the world government, saving Hancock from the Celestial Dragons at Marijoa. If for more on that, check out my Boa Hancock future role onto why I think that Hancock is captured. Another inversion, and a very interesting one at that, would be Garp's role in all of this. During Marineford, he took a very passive stance to Ace's capture, to his death, everything like that. And anybody who's been watching for a while knows that I believe that because, to me, Garp is the leader of Sword, and for many years has been planning a coup against the world government from within the Marines. For more on that, check out the Sword video. But when it actually comes down to his biological real blood, I don't think he would be able to hold it in. I think he would have to stand up and fight. And that would be a great moment for the entire Marine system to just completely get upended and have every good Marine finally make their turn. Fuji, Smoker, Garp, Kobe, Suru, Aokiji, any one of these people could show up and help Luffy. And it's also a prime way to get a really juicy Garp flashback. There's so much that could happen with just having Luffy get captured or turn himself into the government for whatever reason. For those of us who were weekly during the Marineford Saga, it was literally 2 years without the crew. Like, we did the 2-year time skip, but in real time, we actually lived 2 years without the crew. Just Luffy. And Impel Down is one of my favorite arcs, because it brought back Crocodile, who's one of, if not my favorite villain in the series, love Mr. 3, love Buggy. All of that was amazing. Let's do that again, but this time without Luffy, and actually focus on our crew, which we have been realistically neglecting for the last 10 years, in favor of the samurai, in favor of the Kozuki clan, in favor of the Akazaya 9. We're done with Kinemon and the rest of them. It's Straw Hat time. Without Straw Hat, Luffy. Will this happen? I don't know. It depends on if Oda has the guts to do it. But I think you can see how it would be fun to have the freest man on the seas get captured and have all of these people who Luffy has freed come and pay him back finally. When that payoff finally arrives, it's going to be so emotional, so cathartic, so just everything of what I love about One Piece. Like I said, I don't know if this will happen, but I would love it if it did. And I just wanted to share that idea with you guys in a more fleshed out manner, because I've talked about this and I've brought it up a bunch of times, and the comments that I get are just like, you know, what I talked about earlier. Luffy's too strong. That's not going to happen. Oda's never going to do that. Well, maybe he won't, but it's not a bad idea. It's not like it would hurt the story. And if it does look like Luffy is getting captured, you know, we'll expand upon this idea even more of, okay, where are we going? What is really going to happen? But we'll keep it loose for now. Like, comment, subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. There'll be more to come. Catch everybody later.
I've been swimming deep, deep. Savage.